Good morning, African Confessions. I am back with another episode. There is a message that I want to share with you guys, and the message reads like this. Hi, how are you? Please, can you post my own story? I am a 19-year-old girl. I am currently staying in Gweru. So many times that I fell pregnant, and I want to confess that there was one point in time that I wanted to strangle my own daughter to death, simply because at that time I was dating this blesser. After he had found out that I was pregnant, he forced me to have an abortion. He took me to several backroom abortion clinics, and when he saw that the baby could not be aborted, he said that you have to make a plan, otherwise I will dump you. At that time, I knew that he was going to dump me because where I am staying, there is this university that is called Midland State University. So I knew that this blesser of mine that I loved the most, he meant it when he told me that if I keep this baby, he was going to dump me, and he was the one who was taking care of me. And by taking care of me, he was also taking care of my family. I am a girl who grew up in a very influential family, but this was before my parents got divorced. Unfortunately, my parents got divorced when I was still young. Then my dad took custody of me. Honestly speaking, I used to get everything that I wanted. This was before my parents got divorced. I went to a good private school, and my dad was not too strict with me. So I would go out at any time of the day. Sometimes I would come back home somewhere around 9 to 10 p.m. My dad would just ask me where I was, and I would tell my dad that I had gone to a certain party, and my dad would just say, "It is okay, my daughter." My stepmom was someone who was very strict, but she was afraid to say anything whenever my dad will be at home because I was my dad's favorite. It all started when I was still doing my grade 8. That is when I started dating. Since we lived to this place where there is this university that is called Midlands State University, the competition with students was very high. I wanted to have fancy clothes, and I also wanted to have an iPhone. The first time that I dated this older guy who had an iPhone, he gave me his iPhone so that I can use it. That was when we were at this certain hotel. He said, take some pictures with it. So I took some pictures, and from that day, I just fell in love with an iPhone. All that I wanted was an iPhone. That man, he promised me that he was going to buy me an iPhone if I had agreed to do anything that he wanted to do with me sexually. I thought that he meant it, that he was going to buy me an iPhone. As young as I was so stupid. I never thought that when you are in bed with a man can promise you the world, but once he returns back to his wife, he will forget about you. That is what happened. That guy who had promised me that he was going to buy me an iPhone, I later found out that he was actually a lecturer at that university, at Midland State University. This was a couple of months after we started dating, after I had fallen pregnant for him. And by the time that I fell pregnant for him, I told him that I have done everything that you wanted me to do for you, because he told me that if you give me a child, I will buy you an iPhone. So I was ready to fall pregnant for him. I was in grade 9 when I fell pregnant for him. After I had told him that I was pregnant, he said it is okay. But he came back to me after I had fallen pregnant for him. He then said, the economy has gone bad. I'll never be able to buy an iPhone for you. So what we are going to do is that I want you to have an abortion. So I agreed. He said that if you have an abortion, immediately I will buy you an iPhone. But he never bought me that iPhone. After he had seen that the abortion that I had done was a successful abortion, that is when he dumped me. He just dumped me like that. And he said, do not speak with me anymore. So I stopped speaking with that guy. I wanted to speak with him. I was so desperate. But unfortunately, one day when I was busy washing, my phone just fell into the water. Then it died. I didn't have any money to fix my phone. There was this other man who was staying in our same street. He was a married man. But that guy, when he saw that I was dating an older guy, he kept on pestering me. He told me that, I know that you are dating someone else. Why don't you date me also? At that time when I was desperate, that is when I chose to accept his proposal. It was one evening. I was busy sitting by the gate and he was returning back from work. He stopped his car. Me and him, we spoke. Then he said, do you want to get into the car? I said yes. And when I got into the car, he started driving. And me and him, we went to this certain lodge and we slept there. He was my blesser. He was the one who gave me money. At that time, when my blesser was giving me money, I was just keeping that money aside until I had enough money. Then I went and I bought an iPhone. At one point, I had an STD called syphilis. I was scared, but my friend suggested that I should go to these witch doctors that can give you some African herbs. I went there, but what surprised me is that when I went there and when I told him that I had an STD, he said that if I sleep with him, he had such powers that can cure that STD. I did so because I wanted to be healed. After he had slept with me, he gave me a 2-liter that had a strong herbal mixture. That herbal mixture that he gave me to drink, it was really sour to drink. It didn't taste nice. But after drinking that, all of the symptoms that I was feeling, they just faded away. I think that maybe the man was really powerful, like the way that he told me that he is powerful enough. He is not afraid of any STD. I went back into my game, but now I was a little cautious about this disease. I then met a boy from my neighborhood. He was new and did not know much about my character. Me and that boy, we started dating and I grew to love him. But this guy who was in the same age group with me, the one that I was dating, he was the one that I loved the most. I always made sure that I slept with him using protection. But one day, me and him, we ended up not using protection. And I think that I fell pregnant for him when I told him that I was pregnant, but I was not sure that the baby that I was carrying, if it was his baby or not his baby, because at the same time, I was also dating this other blesser and I was sleeping with him, not using any protection. And for that blesser that I was dating, I had had a lot of abortions for him. When I told my blesser that once again I had fallen pregnant for him, he said that we should do as we always did. We had to go and buy some pills. This time around, he did not go to buy those pills with me, but he just gave me money and he told me to go and buy those pills, but I should show him the results. Since he was flying out of the country, he has another business there in South Africa. I just heard that he has 2 trucks there in South Africa. So he was flying to South Africa. When he left me here in Gweru, I didn't buy those pills because my boyfriend, the one that I am dating, because financially my boyfriend, I was also supporting him because he comes from a very poor family. So I thought that let me try to help my boyfriend first. Then I will go to that pharmacy and I will try to negotiate with that person who used to sell my blesser those abortion pills. But after using all of the money, when I went to that pharmacy to buy those abortion pills, unfortunately, that person was not there on that day. I was told that she had traveled back to her village. I went back home, and when I was at home, that is when my dad kept on complaining. He was telling me that in the house there was no money. He didn't know where to find money, and there was no mealie meal on that day. So I took the money that I was supposed to use to buy those abortion pills. Then I gave the money to my father. My father never asked me where I had gotten the money from. He went to the shops, then he came back with a little bit of grocery. When my blesser returned back from his trip in South Africa, he asked me and he said, "Why didn't you show me the proof that you had an abortion?" I told him that I tried to do the abortion, but nothing happened. No blood came out. Me and my blesser, we went to a lot of backroom abortion clinics, but no matter how hard they would try to remove the pregnancy, nothing will come out until 9 months when I gave birth. After I had given birth, I told my blesser that I had just given birth to a baby girl. But the problem that I am now facing is that my baby girl, she looks more like my blesser. She doesn't look like me or my boyfriend, but she looks more like my blesser. When I told him that, is it okay, since you have enough money, if you and me, we can just go to a DNA so that we can see if this baby belongs to you or not? That is when he started blaming me. He said that I told you that you must have an abortion, but you refused. If you think that you are going to get any child support from me, then you are in bad luck. He started threatening me and he said that I know all of the judges in town. Even if you go to court, no one will ever give you the permission to get money from me. You thought that you are clever, but you are not clever. I was in stress at that time, and my baby was just a little baby girl. One day, I didn't have any food to eat, and my baby, she kept on crying because milk was not coming out. So that is when I thought of an idea to strangle my baby so that she can die. But I don't know how God did it, because what I did is that I just took a lot of pillows. First, I took all the pillows that were on my bed and I placed it on top of the blankets. Then I covered my baby with a blanket. I went into my sister's bedroom. Then I took 4 of her pillows. Then I placed all of those pillows on top of the blankets. But I don't know how my baby survived, because when I went outside, I sat for about 45 minutes or so. I was just sitting outside and my baby was crying like that. But when I returned back home, I saw that my baby was still alive. That is when I decided not to kill my baby. I am looking for a solution to this problem that I am facing. The problem that I am facing now is that my boyfriend, he said that he wanted to take me as his own wife, but the problem is that his family members, when they saw my baby, they said that this baby is not his baby because the baby does not look like me, neither does it look like my boyfriend. But what they don't know is that the baby looks more like my blesser, the one who threatened to dump me if I didn't have an abortion. Now that I have delivered my baby, he said that he doesn't want to see me again in his life. Please, brother, can you try to post for me? Right now, what I am looking for is just food. I just need food, guys. Dear listeners, right there was a message that I received from Anonymous. Quite a sad story, but let us thank God that the baby is still alive. Just imagine, she was saying that I placed about 10 pillows on top of the baby, then I covered the baby with a blanket and I went outside. The baby was crying, but after I had returned back into the house, I saw that my baby was still alive with all the blankets and the pillows that I had placed on top of her. Strange things do happen. Please let us talk about this issue in the comment section.